Good morning, hello, and welcome to the 2025 Painting in Your PJs series with Dr. Minette Riordan. That's me. I'm Minette. I'm still wearing my favorite Christmas PJs. Welcome. I'm so excited to dive into a whole new series this year. So I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to talk about this. This is also my third annual, and I'm noticing my lights are a little bit dark there. Going to be diving into a whole new series this coming year. So if you're brand new to painting in your PJs, this series is all about using art as a really powerful tool for self-expression and for personal growth and self-discovery. I really am passionate about supporting midlife women in the transformational journeys that happen when we start to get older. Happy New Year, Tori. Thanks for being here live. And I have found in my own personal journey over the last decade that there's nothing like art to really help me get to the core of what's going on, to make some of that deep thinking and deep reflection that needs to happen a little bit more lighthearted and fun. Good morning, Judy, Happy New Year. And over the last year, through a variety of different projects and retreats and work, I fell in love with making paper dolls. So I have decided that I want to do a new series here on Painting in Your PJs called the Paper Doll Chronicles. I will only be going live once a week. There'll probably be some pre-recorded content. And it looks right now like it's going to be on Thursday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain. So it's an hour later. I'm taking back some of my morning time as I shift some of my own priorities and focus, doing these processes with you all live. I learned so much about my own journey. And my biggest goal this year or intention is prioritizing my health. And so every Thursday morning, I will be going live for 2 hours because I want to finish projects too, right? I found that it takes me a little bit longer than an hour. And so Thursday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain, I'll be going live, still in my pajamas, super excited about the journey and where we're going. I already have a whole outline for these Paper Doll Chronicles and super excited to dive in and play in all of this with you. If you're just joining me and you're not on my email list and you just happen to stop by today or catch the video, I encourage you to get on my email list, and I'll make sure I get a link added to the description to the email or of the video as well, because I will be sending out a variety of free templates, journal prompts, lots of goodies, throughout the year. And I did that for my email list, received an email yesterday with a fun articulated doll template and some reflective journal prompts to get us going. So again, welcome. Happy New Year. Good morning, Marion. Thanks for being here this morning. So great to see you all. Thanks for joining me live. If you are here live, don't be quiet. Pop into the chat, say hello, good morning, Happy New Year. Excited to gather with all of you. And I'm going to go ahead and change my screen, and we're going to dive right in to some paper doll. Happy New Year, Pat. So happy to have you here. And your New Year's Day is like at the end of the day at this point. I hope you had a fun New Year's Eve and relaxing day today. So in my email yesterday, I sent out a template that looks like this. We're going to create an articulated paper doll, which simply means that she is movable. Happy New Year, Monique. Folkscapes, good morning. Happy New Year. Thanks everybody for being here live. So this is a pretty large paper doll. This is what I'm going to be working with. And as always, this does not mean this is what you need to be working with. So let me get my lights, bear with me for just a second, flipped back around here. Going live, it's, always an adventure. So this is our paper doll. She's quite large. But since this is our blank slate, our doll that represents authenticity and kind of this idea of who do I want to be this year. It felt like we wanted a little spaciousness to play with her, and we're probably going to play with her throughout the month of January and go old school, give her some different outfits, some different intentions. We're going to create our word of the year outfit probably next week and have some. Oh, hi, Ruth. I'm glad you told me who you are. Welcome, welcome. Are you there with Margaret and Lisa this morning? Are you guys all together? So what I want to do is just dive right in. We're going to work on the doll. We're actually going to do some journaling right on top of the doll, and then we're going to have some fun with making some a particular outfit for her to get started with the new year. If you do not have the brads, you could totally do the same process. Heidi, good morning. Happy New Year. You could totally do the same process by just picking a pose and gluing your doll together. So she does not have to be articulated, right? So she can, it's fun to have it be articulated, but she could be all glued together as well. If you don't have the template, also, don't worry, I'm just going to encourage you to draw your own and have some fun with that. And I'm wondering, oops, hi, Brad. You scared me to death. My husband was standing right next to me and scared me to death. My lights are really dark this morning, and I'm trying to. Yeah, for my. I think when we were recording, we changed things. That was hilarious. My husband just snuck up on me. So bear with us for just a second. We're going to see if we can fix these lights up just a little bit. I think when we were recording some other videos, we probably changed some things up. Got my Tech Master here. That's warmth, yeah. Awesome. Love it. Good morning, Yvonne. Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, you're up so early. Happy New Year. That's better, Brad. That's already something when we were recording, somehow we got them moved. You're talking about the picture of me. Good morning, Karen. Happy New Year. Bear with us here for just uh, a few minutes. No, the camera has not moved. I tried to figure out how to move them up, but I couldn't figure out how. All right. Gotta love New Year's technology. Okay, while he's working around me with the lights, I'm going to keep going. So if you have coloring with Pat and Wilson. Are you Pat or Wilson? That sounds super fun. I love coloring. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here this morning. Hi, Barbara. Happy New Year. Great to have everyone here. So what we're working on this morning is a blank slate paper doll. So why are we calling her a blank slate? Because that's okay. Because we're all here at this beginning of the year with this idea of dreaming into what's possible for the new year. Whether you're someone who likes to set goals, whether you're someone who is like, I'm never setting another, goal again. A lot of us set goals and then we don't reach those goals. And so then we don't ever want to do it again. Some of us have intentions, resolutions. And I'm curious, for those of you that are joining me live, are you someone that loves goals, intentions, resolutions? None of them. I've been seeing a lot online right now about slowing things down, not setting these huge, dramatic, bold goals, but setting goals for things like, I want to enjoy my time. I want to slow things down. I want to focus on beauty and wonder. I want to focus on learning and growing, but without having to get quite so dramatic, right? About I'm going to lose 100 pounds. I'm going to write 5 books. There's different ways that we can approach what it is that we want to create for the year. And I'd love to hear some of you share what's your approach. Like one of my favorite ways to start the year is always by having a word that's going to guide me. And we will be, like I said, making a fun outfit. Going forward for our word of the year outfit. But today we want to create this sort of blank slate. But that blank slate isn't truly blank. It really is about looking at who am I right now today. And so we want to create our doll from this perspective of how am I already amazing and awesome and wonderful? And in your email, if you're on my email list or in the description of this video, you will find don't like resolutions but love being inspired. Oh, I love that, Tori. That's a great answer. There were some journal prompts that I sent out yesterday and invited you to think about this idea of who am I right now? What parts of myself feel authentic and true? What aspects of myself do I want to nurture or express more this year? If I could describe my essence, I love this one, in 3 words, what would they be? If you could describe your own essence in 3 words, what would they be? And sometimes describing our own essence is way harder than describing our best friend or our partner or our kiddos, right? But for me, I put down caring, generous, creative are things that I think are really at the core of my essence. And we also want to think today about symbols, colors, or images that represent our truest self. When we get to designing the outfit, think about symbol, think about color, think about texture or specific images. Like for me, if you know me at all, you know I love to paint animals. I love animal symbolism. There definitely needs to be some animals somehow incorporated into my doll making. And then also we want to think about, because this is our blank slate doll, we want to think about what do I want to let go of to create a fresh start? What do I want to let go of to create a fresh start? All right, Brad gave up on the lights, but hopefully we're getting these bright enough. No, that one didn't work. Okay, we're going to go for it anyway. So the first thing you're going to want to do, if you have not done it already, is to cut out your various doll parts. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut these out and show the whole process from start to finish. This is going to take a second here. So I'd love to hear some other comments in the chat. This is an interactive experience. One word that describes your core essence or your strength, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. What is something that describes your core essence, your strength, your personality? How would you describe yourself? And don't be shy here. Don't be afraid to brag, to celebrate. Hey, Carol, Happy New Year to you and your puppy. So how would you describe your core essence? You know, when you think about, one way to think about this is, what do others say about you? And here's a face I was working on last night where I drew a face, and she needs some glasses if she's going to represent me. Resilient, go with the flow of the day. Oh, I love that, Heidi, recognizing that there are many more joyful moments than challenges in the day. Love, love, love. Loving, yeah. I like setting new goals. The word alone sounds not as harsh or as committed to resolution. Allows me to change paths if needed. So Ruth, I love that you said allows you to change paths if needed. So here's my thing about goals. Goals give us clarity, intention, and focus for moving forward. And I think the biggest secret at this time of year is to not get overly attached to outcomes and really understanding that, a goal is just as good as the plan that gets you there, right? Oftentimes we set goals, but then we don't make a plan for how am I going to actually accomplish that goal. Carol, funny, Tori, joy filled, positive, creative. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Love all of that. That is true. So true. Tori, I would add in there, also loving and generous, right? And as you think about going forward into this year, what is something that you would love to release this year? What is something you would like to let go of? A weight, not, an emotional weight, or I'm not talking about body weight here, but, for example, I recently cleaned out my bookshelves and my closet and my all my oracle decks, and there's a sense of shedding weight of stuff for us. Eclectic mini interest, empath, sensitive helper, letting go of worry. That's a great one. I love that. So we recently moved my dad out of his home of 30 years. And there was a lot of stuff in his home, a lot of, stuff from his family, from my stepmom's family. And it wasn't that he hadn't gotten rid of stuff over the years, but that there was just a lot. And my dad and my stepmom loved Western art and Native American art from the southwestern United States, and they had so much art, which all got packed up and shipped to California. And then I had the fun of getting to hang that when I got to California at Christmas. But there was so much stuff in the house that it really had my husband and I, taking a look at our home, which those of you that have been here, it's not particularly cluttered except downstairs in my studio. But there's some boxes that we haven't unpacked since we moved here 2.5 years ago. It's time to take care of that. There's art that we haven't hung and family photos we haven't hung. And part of that is we're thinking, oh, we want to paint this wall before we hang anything. Well, then the wall doesn't get painted and the stuff doesn't get hung. So I think there's definitely some clutter around that we can let go of. For me, letting go, I think it was Carol that said worry, right? Worry about my adult kiddos, worry about my aging parents. Feels like it's been a bit of a season of worry. Okay, so I have all my doll parts cut out. So you're going to want something sharp if you have the brads. I've got just little tiny brads here. Let go of perfectionism, self-judgment. And if you've got brads, you're going to want something sharp to poke some holes in your doll, but not too big a holes. And I meant to grab my awl, but I did not. So just about anything will work. I'm just going to use this pencil. I think last night I was upstairs and I just used a ballpoint pen. You don't need huge holes. Don't care if we get anything on the doll. So I've cut out all of the parts and now I'm going to just poke some holes. On the template that I gave you, I pre-marked the holes. If you're hand drawing it, you can just guess. You don't want the holes to be too close to the edges of the slips of paper because then the brads will tear. So this is her right foot. And I'm just going to put a couple of the pieces of her together, not the whole body, just so you get a sense of where we're going here. Yes, Carol, here, let me change me. It was moving out of my dad's house was an adventure, but there is the merry-go-round horse. I brought home the smallest of the three that he had. The other two were really large, but this one was the oldest. That this is one that was still being produced in my dad's shop when my grandfather was still alive. So it's a when he died in the 80s when I was in university. So this is one of their oldest ones. And my dad took one with him to California, and a friend took another one. So my dad was so happy that all of the merry-go-round horses found a home. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, my grandfather started a company that made kiddie rides for carnivals, and he invented the first portable rides for small festivals. Most of the time you think of carousels and they don't move, right? They're static, but he had a little mini Ferris wheel, the merry-go-rounds, some little car and motorcycle rides. You can still see them around the country. They still exist, but it was certainly a fun way to grow up. So I'm using the brads to just attach the different parts here of our paper doll. Make sure you get the hands going and the feet going the right direction on your doll. And this is all hand drawn, and so I played with the proportions, and they're not perfect, but we're going to call them close enough. So I put the brad through the arm. On this one I had the arms on the outside. This one I want to try putting the arms behind, and I think it might be easier when we're designing our doll clothes. And some of the dolls that we're going to make in this next month, like I said, we're going to make a Word of the Year doll. We're going to make some playscapes for our dolls. We'll make clothes for our dolls. So we're really going to look at all the different ways that we can use these dolls to really connect more deeply with different aspects of ourself. I'm a huge fan of Richard Schwartz's parts work. And so throughout the year, we're going to be working on dolls that represent all the different parts of ourselves. We'll do inner child dolls, we'll do teenager dolls, we'll do wise woman and crone dolls. So you can see how easy she is to put together. I actually like that behind, and I actually like those dull instead of the shiny brads. So, okay, I am going to go ahead and put her together. And maybe I want to, so I'm going to actually use this. So to do the hand-drawn face, all I did was trace my template and then added to her. Hi, Judy. Good morning. Happy New Year. So if you want to hand draw a face, you can. I had a ton of fun playing with AI and asked AI to create me a variety of different paper doll faces. So I have some drawing inspiration here for different types of faces and different hairdos and different colors. And I could simply cut one of these out and collage it on as well. If you're thinking, how am I going to create a face for my paper doll? And drawing a face seems complicated. You can simply use a magazine image for your paper doll. For this blank slate doll, and I just didn't have a chance to do this, I highly recommend printing out a photo of yourself and pasting a photo of your own face as you are today, right? Just snap a picture on your phone or get somebody to snap it for you and print it out, but create a picture of yourself as you are today and stick that on there. I will probably do that as well. So the face definitely needs to go behind. Some of these brads were really stuck together, and you want to make sure when you're sticking the brads in there that you really push the brad through and tighten it down quite a bit. Otherwise, your limbs are going to become super loosey-goosey. Oh, look, she's already starting to have a little bit of character already just by giving her a little bit of a face. Love that. I love those beautiful old carousels. There's a gorgeous one right on the waterfront in Santa Barbara that's really beautiful. So we were just in Santa Barbara, California for the first time since we moved. We got my dad moved from Texas to California to be near my brother and get a little bit more support. And he has a wonderful new apartment. It was the first time in a long time we'd all been together at Christmas, so that was really lovely. Okay, she's coming together. A couple of more pieces here. How's everybody doing with your dolls? So this is the hardest part. I mean, it's not hard, it's just the fussy part is cutting out all the pieces and getting your doll put together. Who's actually making dolls with me and who's just watching along? So most of you that are here today got the template yesterday. And I love being able to move her around in different positions. When I was playing with, making clothes, you definitely want those clothes to align with the arms. Awesome. Some people watching, some people putting their dolls together. And for clothing our dolls, you could use paper, you could use fabric, you could use stickers, right? I don't know about you, but I have so much paper around. Cut it out yesterday. I know, Tori, you're such a good student following the instructions. I love you. Yep. Putting her together. I'm looking at all these faces and they feel super fun for future paper dolls. And again, if you don't have brads, you can 100% just glue her together and just pick a position that you like. What I like about having the movable parts is that you can see her in action. Some of these brads are hard to get together. Okay. All right. So here we have our iteration of our paper doll. Glue dots temporarily. Oh, glue dots are a perfect idea because they're removable. That's a great idea. So so these are giving me some fun ideas about hair as well. So I'm thinking that I'm going to start with paper, but then I'm probably going to have some fun and go back and get yarn for her hair, maybe some fabric and texture to add to her. But here I have this blank slate of a doll. Rhonda, I see your question and I'm happy to share. I'll share in just a minute. But now I want you to go back to some of those initial prompts that we're thinking about. And we're actually going to do a little writing right on to our doll. So I asked you to think about, what are some of your strengths, your personality, your quirks, right? One of the things I love more than anything is being outside in nature. I love animals of all kinds. I am that annoying person when you go for a walk with me. I'm looking at all the birds. I'm stopping to pet every single dog that I can pet along the way. I think it was Yvonne said resilient. I think of myself as a strong person. I think of myself as creative. And this year, I think one of the things that I feel really good about is that I have a clear vision and purpose for my life. And all this is going to get covered up. This is just for my eyes. And I'm really committed, feeling very committed to that vision, right? Like I know where I'm going and I know what it is that I want. And over here, I might put some of those essences, caring, generous, loving. And I'm going to put connection on this one because if you ask me what my highest core value is above all other things, it used to be something else, but today I would say that it's connection, right? It's connection. We've got some wonky arms. So there I have just a few words on her that are part of that not quite blank slate, but it's the strength and the possibility. These are the things that I want to carry forward with me. And I also asked about symbols, and lately the symbol of the spiral keeps showing up pretty strongly for me. I usually have not just a word of the year, but a symbol of the year, even an animal of the year. My animal this year is going to be the great blue heron. I've had some amazing up close and personal encounters with them that have really affirmed that for me. But so here I have the base of my blank slate dolls. And now I'm going to design an outfit for her. I'm going to decide about the face a little bit later. And I'm someone that, I love pajamas. I thought, well, maybe my blank slate doll needs pajamas, but I also love long, flowy dresses. So I played some with creating a template for a dress. This doll's just a slightly different side. And then I thought, well, what if she needs, a shirt? So the first thing you might want to do is just create some patterns. And then once we have those patterns created, then we can use our own templates to create some more fun fabric-based ones. So in this version, I simply put her arms into one position and kind of hand drew a little bit of a shirt. So I'm trying to decide if she's going to have pajamas today or if she's going to have her dress. But if this is my blank slate doll, I think she needs pajamas because there's nothing love that more than I love than spending a whole day in my jammies and in my studio, which doesn't get to happen nearly enough. So I think I'm going to save and I'm not a nightgown person, I'm a pajama person. So I think I'm going to make her some pajamas. And I'm simply going to take a blank sheet of paper. I'm going to move some of this other stuff out of the way. And I think this is just inexpensive sulfite paper. I also have some cardstock here. I really loved the pattern, and these looks like strings of bells, chimes, and beads. And I'm like, well, those would be fun for hair or earrings. So who knows where we're going to go with this. It's interesting. This little stop sign is floating around on my desk. So I wonder what it is that I'm going to stop doing this year. So once we have this base doll, then we really start to want to connect to her very intuitively. There's no right or wrong way to approach this process. All right, have a quick sip of coffee. How's everybody doing? Any questions? Is all of this making sense? She's she's very long, so I might need to get some longer sheets of paper or use this big paper. Awesome. Thank you, Tori. All right. I need the blank slate of the paper here where we can kind of see her. Lost my audio, but it's back. Okay, I'm supposed to remember to clip this to my pajamas so that I don't lean on the microphone, which I'm very good at doing. Okay, glad it's back. All right, so Rhonda, to answer your question, we use a paid version of AI called Midjourney, one word, Midjourney. I don't know if there's a free version of that one, but you could do it on any of the graphic artificial intelligence apps that you love. And I simply used a prompt that said something like whimsical paper doll faces on a, and I think I was specific. I said 12 whimsical collage style folk art faces on a white background. And that was how I created them. Wasn't anything particular fancy. I just played with a bunch of them to help do that. So Midjourney is just happens to be the one that I know. I think I want to start with her pants. So when you start to make patterns for your paper dolls, this is when you're gonna, and it's so funny, my grandmother loved paper dolls. You're going to want to make sure that you add some tabs to the edges of things, which I forgot to do when I made my shirt, to have them stick to your paper doll. Or I love Marion's idea of using the glue dots, right, which are removable in order to put things on and take them off. I took the most wonderful magical playbook class this year from a woman named Kristen Radden, OTM Academy on Instagram, and she works with a different version, her version of paper dolls. She calls them puppets, and she would laminate things and then just use double stick tape to stick them on and off. So if you have a laminator, you can have some fun with laminating things and sticking them on and off. So I am going to play with creating some pajamas here. And she's probably going to need some house slippers. So I'm just going to imagine, right? So where these pants would go. And they're going to be kind of long and flowy. I'm going to put some, you want those tabs to be pretty long on there. I want the legs kind of just to be open and flowy. And then this would be another good place for a tab. That's kind of bizarre looking spot for it, but it's a good spot for it. And we're going to add that tab over here. Make sure those tabs are pretty long. And there we have a really simple pair of pants. So let's cut those out. I know it looks not like a tab, but like something else. Little silly humor for the morning. But because I wanted the legs to be long and flowy, I needed one more place on there to clip that on. So right now, all I'm doing is making a template for the pants. A pattern. For those of you that love to sew, you're just simply creating a pattern. And then I will trace this on. You have a couple of options. For those of you that love to paint, you could trace or you could paint this. So this is a nice piece of mixed media paper. Yesterday when I cut that dress out, I had the idea that I would love to do an entire Zentangle inspired dress for her, because if I think about blank slates, right? And the things that make me who I am and the things that I love. Zentangle has been such a humongous part of your journey. We are definitely going to be making some child versions, Carol, for sure. All right, so then we're going to come up here, fold that up, and I may need to tighten that top up just a little bit to fit around her waist. And these feel like they would be fun to create out of fabric, but there she has a pair of pants. Love her pants. It's going to be a fun, creative day for me, and I get to meet a puppy today. So all kinds of exciting things happening today. I am going down to Denver with a few girlfriends for a mala making workshop. If you're not familiar with what a mala is, it is a string of 108 beads used for prayer, meditation, mantra. All right, so there she has some cute, fun pajama pants. I'm going to get her started. And my friend that I'm going with got a new puppy this week. I cannot wait to, her name is Raven, another one of my favorite birds. Okay, so I need some different paper here. All right, I'm just going to use the back of my template. So now I want to create a shirt for her. So the thing I found when I was creating the shirt, and if other people have suggestions, I think her arms might be a little too long, so I might end up shortening her arms just a little bit. So when you stand up and you place your arm straight down beside your leg, your arms are always longer than you think they are, right? And so we measured this, those are really pretty appropriate. My arms go down just below my thighs. And any pajamas that I own definitely have to have pockets. In fact, we're going to talk about pockets in a little while. But I want her arms to go inside of her pajamas. I like these are kind of fun because they almost, if I add more symbols, I think Tori, you might have to draw your pretty tattoo on here to make her representative, right? But I love being able to see the words on there to really kind of, make a stand for what it is that I have created. So I'm putting her into position, and then I'm going to make that template so that the arms go in the right place. So I'm going to get this blank piece of paper down here. And you will often find me with hands in my pocket. So if I put those maybe behind, this part's a little fussy. And my husband has gotten me addicted to looking at Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace always has all kinds of fun, especially lots of fun arts and crafts sale. And somebody was selling a bunch of old patterns, and I thought, well, how fun would it be to get some of those old patterns and use them as inspiration for clothing for our paper dolls. Okay, so for the blouse, we're going to do the same thing, but for this one, I want to trace the whole arm and get that little tab in there. And she's also kind of standing in a power pose. Well, that would be a smart idea to look for patterns for dolls, clothes. Let's see, I think we're going to need some tabs. I'm going to want this to stay on, so she's probably going to need quite a few tabs on her top here. And when I start to think about what is she going to be wearing, this is where we want to start thinking about colors, pattern, texture, symbols, right? Start thinking about the different things that we might want. Oops, I forgot the inside of the shirt. Start thinking about what feels most representative of who she is now, right? Or who I am now in this moment. And I'm not a seamstress. Hi, Anne. Hi, Margaret. Happy New Year. Yes, exactly, Margaret. That's the point, right? Of making her articulated, right? Plus, on different days, she's going to have different clothes, or she might have different expressions on her face as well, right? It was one of the fun parts about, doing these different faces. These are all a little bit younger than I am. So I think, I definitely want to create some that feel more representative of who I am. You could also, there's fun AI where you can upload your photo and ask it to, make different versions of your own face. And so it might be fun to make a set of paper dolls out of those AI versions of our face. But I'm really drawn. I think I'm going to have a color palette this year that seems to also be showing up. I'm really in love with teal and orange right now. And it's funny, my birthday is coming up. And so my husband just picked out some new luggage for me, which is what I wanted, and everything is teal and orange. Okay, so let's get this one cut out, and then gonna have some fun here with starting to give her some color and bring her to life even more. And imagine, I love what Margaret said about, Artie starting to see how things change with the giving her different positions, right? So right now she's in a power pose, but I was looking at her this morning and also thinking one of my goals this year is, more quiet, self-reflective and writing time. Also, one of my goals this year is more flexibility, get back to my stretching and strengthening. We had so much. Okay, I'm having a little struggle folding her up there, but that's kind of hilarious. But maybe, she's folding up. Sometimes she's definitely going to need to be sleeping in her pajamas, right? Sometimes she's going to be maybe running, right? So we can really start to add some expression and start to add some different body parts. Like these are made to look like she's standing, but we could draw her feet going in different directions. So if I even just, flip this foot over, then she would look like she's running. Or sometimes, she needs to be remembering that she's strong and have arms raised. I'm also imagining her holding a bunch of art tools in her hand, or maybe she's going to have her own canvas that she's working on. So there's so many ways that we can play with these. In fact, I told Brad yesterday, I want to try to figure out how I can hang up either a bulletin board or a whiteboard down here and create a whole playground for these dolls. Like any other form of personal growth work that we do, it shouldn't get lost or buried in a journal. Now, don't get me wrong, I love writing and journaling a lot, but I often also recognize that, I write things in a journal and then they're just in the journal and I forget about them, or I don't go back and reread or reflect on them. And so there's something about these paper dolls that keep them very top of mind. And this all started with the Queen's Cloak class that I did last year, and I still have my dolls from that class. Give this a little bit of a scooped neckline here. And so here I have now her fun pajama shirt and her kind of nice relaxed pose. And when she's wearing her pajamas, she's not worried about, hair. She does need some glasses. All right. This is the fussy part. And I'm seeing that this paper is really thin, and so I'm thinking a little bit thicker paper is going to be better as well. But basically now I have the templates for some clothes for her, and I have fun options of either making them out of collage paper, magazine images, or I have the opportunity here to, if I did this on some nice mixed media paper, I could hand paint them, right? So I did think it would be fun to color up her face. I've got just some plain old Crayola markers sitting here. What I don't have is any water in front of me or a water brush. Okay, so we're going to do just some Crayola markers. And this is just a simple hand-drawn face. Added a few wrinkles in there. And if you used the other head template, right, that, where'd it go? This one, you can draw a face and then make the hair out of something else on this one, or you can glue a photograph or a magazine image to make different faces. The other thing I love about using the brads and having these be movable is that every part of her is changeable. Every part of her is flexible. And I think that's so good to remember as we're going into the new year, is to remember that change is inevitable. And the more that we can flow with the change, the easier it will go. The more we resist change, the more challenging and harder it will be on us. You could 100% paint your entire doll body as well, right? So that would be another fun way to approach this is, and then I would probably paint the parts first. That light is really dark on there. Let's see. Just adding a little bit of water, just seeing if I can mush some of that color off. And I had a cup of drinking water, which is now becoming my paint water, but it's all good. She's much darker on screen, interestingly, than she is in person. All right. The last time I went to get my hair cut, I love my hairdresser. We have a lot of fun chit-chatting. And she was working on the back of my hair and she said, "Oh man, your hair's getting gray." I'm like, "Great, thank you." But I have this funny patch in the back that's getting quite white. I've got these little dangly earring bits hanging on there. Yeah, so resourceful. Very resourceful, you know. So definitely have to leave some of that gray in there. or come back in with a white gel pen and add some gray in there. Because I want her to be representative of me. She doesn't need to look like me, but I want her to be representative of me, right? And this is an example of working intuitively, simply using what's in front of me on the table, not trying to make her perfect. This is that blank slate, right? So this is just that first version of her here. There will be multiple versions of her as the year goes by. And once she's dry, I'll come in with some fun gel pen and maybe add some gold to her earrings. It's good face drawing practice as well. All right, now she's starting to feel like she has a little bit more life. I actually really like the black outline on there, and this is just a plain old gel pen, nothing fancy. Probably does not like the water. We're going to find out. And I like the idea of her also having multiple facial expressions. Like this face, it's not particularly smiley. It's a little maybe thoughtful or serious, which is one aspect of me. But maybe there's the really silly laughing face as well, right? So I think when you think about this, remember this is just the version for today. This is not the forever version. This is just this is where I am right now. Let's see. Give her some. Okay, apparently we're going with some green. All right, I pulled out a bunch of collage paper, so the next thing I'm going to do is to start to make her clothes. I also came back from my dad's house with a huge selection of all kinds of bits and pieces of costume jewelry and lace and some really fun things that I want to be incorporating into my dolls going forward. But today I thought I wanted to just keep it simple and see what I can create. Here's some hand painted paper left from another project. I thought maybe a little animal or maybe some of these little flowers from this book. Here's some. I was very drawn to, oh, these would make fun pajamas. A friend gave me this gorgeous handmade paper with these gold leaves. That would make fun pajamas. Now that I decided on pajamas, I might change the direction. I've got all these fun gel prints. I actually love that purple and green together, but none of these are, I think, quite big enough. Not feeling the pink and purple. So let's see what we can do with this fun handmade paper here. If I can get the tape off. These are scraps. I had a couple of girlfriends over and we had so much fun. My friend gave me like 3 huge sheets of this gorgeous paper in a couple of different patterns. And so we made journal covers out of them. But I still have the scrappy bits left. Oh yeah, those are going to make super fun pajamas. And then I'm going to have to be on the hunt for some real pajamas with the green and gold flowers. Super fun. All right. use this efficiently. Don't forget your tabs. That's the main thing to make sure everything is going to stay connected to your doll. I'm just going to trace my pattern onto the paper. Now I'm starting to think about, even though these are pajamas, about fun decoration. I have one of the things that came back were a bunch of old bits and pieces of gold chains and charms. I've been having fun making a lot of magic wands lately, so maybe, how am I going to think about not just that blank slate of who I am, but who is it that I want to be this year, can all start to come into the close. So we started with this blank slate doll of our strengths and our essence and things that we want to let go of. And then we also want to think about, what are my key areas of focus? That's one of the things, rather than, for those of you that don't like goals or resolutions, think about, what are your key areas of focus for the coming year? Are you focused on art and creativity? Are you focused on work or travel? So one of the things that Brad and I are committed to for this year are more adventures, but also just more time off away from the office. So we had a lot of family related travel this last year. And we had a really fun trip in April, but we realized that we need at least a couple of weeks every year to really step away from work and family time. So more adventure, more travel are things. Definitely getting more hiking in. We didn't do near enough hiking or adventures. Blanca, hello, my friend. So if you're just popping in to join us, we have made our paper dolls. We've done some writing on our paper dolls. Mine now has a face. And I'm making some clothes for her. And I'm starting to think about, here I have this beautiful blank slate. That I get to totally create, right? And I think sometimes we forget that we are way more in control of our lives than sometimes we think we are, that we always have the opportunity to reinvent and reimagine ourselves, especially in midlife, retirement. All of a sudden, these new spaces open up that weren't there before. And we want to fill our time and use our energy meaningfully. And when I think about this whole idea of purpose, I think about it in every area of my life, not just as something sort of separate or apart. It's not related to work or a job, but it's really about, how do I want to live and who do I want to be? And how do I want that to connect and intersect with others in my life? And my purpose is definitely at the core of my career and my work in the world, to support midlife women and living their best lives. And I've been doing a lot of thinking and teaching in my Midlife Renaissance program about the difference between purpose and calling. Our purpose often stays consistent throughout much of our life. There's a lot of through lines that we can look at. And here at the beginning of the year is a really wonderful time to reconsider what our values are. And rather than getting too caught up in, oh my gosh, I have to know my purpose, but to think instead about, how do I want to use my time and my energy this year? Oh my gosh, she's going to be so pretty. How do I want to, because our energy is our most precious resource, right? Many people think that our most precious resource is time, but it's not, it's energy. Health, vitality, strength. All right. I traced this. I just learned something. I traced this backwards, so I didn't get the pattern quite right. I should have turned this over and traced it this way to get the arms exactly like I drew the pattern. Rookie mistake. I am not someone who sews. But for now, we're just going to make it work, or maybe she'll just have short sleeves. That would work too. And get those tabs on there. It's all trial and error. So I'm thinking I'm going to want to probably tape some of these down. This paper is super thin. I'm noticing the thicker paper definitely worked better. Okay, so she's going to have shorter sleeves, make it easy on myself. And I'm going to retrace the pant pattern. The paper is very thin, and so it's a little curly. All right, so there she has her top. Bye, Marion. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy New Year, my friend. Great to see you here. Okay, so I am going to, I think these are pretty even. Yeah, the pants are going to be fine. And I have never made paper doll clothes before. Usually I'm just gluing things down and doing lots of collage. So this is the first time that I have actually made clothes that are removable. And we'll see if I like it or not. I'm at the moment wondering and learning that stiffer paper is definitely better. And so another thing I might do is glue this paper down to some cardstock, so I get that little bit of stiffer, or even glue it to my pattern. All right. These are some fancy pajamas. I think maybe that's what I need for painting in your PJs for this year. Some fancy new pajamas. Good excuse to go buy more pajamas. All right. Yep. I may just retrace the shirt so I can get that going in the right way. But there she has her fancy pajamas to get her started for the year. And it always feels even like starting over with this Paper Doll Chronicles is a blank slate. So if you join me late, this is the first in a year-long series called the Paper Doll Chronicles. Okay, I'm going to redo the blouse, being a little bit of a perfectionist this morning. And I am going to do a once a week live on Thursdays from 8 to 10 a.m. Mountain, so an hour later than usual. Oh, look there's a coordinating piece. See, it's all going to work out perfectly. And we are going to use paper dolls as a tool for personal growth all year long. All right, let's see if we can, it's just gonna fit. Fantastic. All right, so this time I'm gonna turn it over the right direction. Give her some longer tabs on those sleeves. I think I do like the short sleeves better than the long sleeves. And once I have some initial clothes on her here, I'm going to start to think about what else do I want to add to this blank slate doll today. Are there symbols? Is there a companion? Is there some other texture that wants to get added, right? You know, it's easy to think, oh, I have an outfit, she's good to go. But I want to start to think about, so I have this clear vision and purpose, loving connection. What are other things that I could add here that would represent that? I've been a little obsessed with wings and crowns and all kinds of fun elements lately. So are there some other things that need to get added here to make her feel properly dressed as my blank slate doll? How's everybody doing? Are you having fun with your dolls? Are you thinking about the things that you can add? Maybe you're thinking about gathering some things up. And I wasn't sure how long this will take. I don't think we'll be here a full 2 hours today. All right, we're going to try this again. And that other one that I cut out will get used for something else as well. Makes you feel like a little girl again. I love that. And to me, that is the beauty of paper dolls, is that childlike playfulness. But then there's also this, you know, very adult, intuitive, remembering that I get to choose exactly who I want to be this year, how I want to be, how do I want to show up? How do I want to show up for myself? How do I want to show up for others? What do I already have in place? What strengths, right, of personality, what gifts, that core essence that we can... Awesome, Margaret. And yes, I know I'm probably moving a little fast here. Oh, that's fun. Now they totally coordinate. All right, we're going to keep all of these pieces for other things. But I definitely think she's going to need some jewelry and some other fun things to add to her. She's very shiny. Okay. I forgot to put the tabs on her inside of her shirt. Oh well. It's all a learning process. I never pretend that I know what I'm doing. This is always all an experimentation. Okay, the shirts are a little wonky. I think it would also be really fun to draw some of these dolls, right? To just paint right on them or to collage right on them. Today it felt like she wanted a removable outfit, but I could just as easily glue things onto her as well. Okay, that one fits way better. Get her pants back on. She's coming apart at the seams, and it's only January 1st. Just kidding. I'm very excited about all the things this year. It's the paper is what's, I think, annoying me. So, all right, I love you. So we need that piece of cardstock. You can see the paper's all bendy and foldy. So one of the things I'm learning is thicker paper is going to work way better for this. And I'm starting to think about what else needs to go on here. Like I came back from California with this beautiful little heart-shaped stone. So maybe it would be fun to start to think about what are the other things that she needs to keep her grounded and anchored. So my word of the year is rooted. I want to be rooted in my practices. I want to be grounded and present. I want to have less stress, have a really strong foundation, both in my personal life and in my work. Okay, that's going to be so much better. Okay, note to self, tissue paper does not make the best doll clothes. Just going to fit on that piece of paper. And one of the things we want to add, so if you're ahead of me and you're wondering what's next, we want to make sure we add a pocket or a purse or a bag, some kind of container to create space for possibilities. Because no matter how clear we are in our goals and the direction that we think we're heading, the universe may have other plans for us. And we want to be open to the things that we imagine are possible and anything better that might come our way. So think about how could you attach a pocket. Maybe she needs a little purse. Maybe she needs a beautiful basket for collecting things. Maybe she's going to have a little envelope tucked onto the back of her. But think for a minute about how could you add that open space for possibility. I can see having so much fun and adding so many things to her. But the goal for today was to create the doll, to do some journaling, to give her her first outfit of the year. And for me, those pajamas are very appropriate. And then the next step is going to be to add some type of nice pocket. Okay, much, much better. Definitely think she needs some house slippers. I'm never down here in the studio without my house slippers because it's cold. The concrete floors are cold. Much better. Now it's not all curling up. Okay, that feels like a win. So I'm even thinking, how much fun would it be for the pocket that maybe she needs an artist apron with a big pocket to hold all the things. Thanks, Yvonne. Me too. I'm in love with her PJs. Now I'm going to have to be on the hunt for some pretty PJs like these. Looking at her face thinking she definitely needs glasses. Otherwise she doesn't feel like me without the glasses on. Okay, cardstock is my friend today. I forgot to add some little tabs and add another little tab in there. Lots of tabs will also help to keep her attached. And if you are on Instagram, I would love for you to share your version of the dolls using the hashtag Paper Doll Chronicles. Paper Doll Chronicles. I'll type that here in the chat. Hashtag Paper Doll Chronicles. That way I'll be able to see them when you add them. And part of the fun of doing this is seeing what everybody else is creating. Okay, I'm thinking she needs like a really crazy, maybe a purple apron that's going to hold her pocket of possibilities. All right, this one was a little fussier. Okay, cardstock works great, and really give those tabs a good crease. You might even, if you have a bone folder handy or the end of your scissors, give them a good crease to help them stay folded. Okay. Much better. All right, now she's coming together. I don't know. I'm feeling silly. Like, does she need a little bow in her hair? Does she need maybe her little crown on to match? Like, now we get to zhuzh her up, right? To really start to add some playful, fun things to her. If I give her short sleeves, then she could also hold her little basket out here. So things to think about, right? When we're starting to just add all these different things. I think this stop sign feels important because it feels like having better boundaries around my time personally, right? Like, I love what I do, so I tend to work a lot, and I would like to work a little less. Oh, a sleep mask. That's a great idea. Let's see. Maybe she needs a little matching sleep mask to go with her sassy pajamas. Here she's got a little sleep mask for when she's resting. Love that, Yvonne. Maybe she just needs a little feather in her cap. Got all these beautiful feathers. So this is where I really want you to start to think about, what is it that you want for the year? What do you want to start creating, right? It's time to look forward, right? We started in this beautiful place of like this blank slate of who am I being? And so now I have this blank slate. And I want to think about, so that could double as a mask or a cute little bow in her hair. I want to get my notes here before I forget. Start to think about, what else can I think about from this perspective, right? And so as I start to look at her, and I put all of these prompts are in the description of the video as well. So you will find these later. But I want to start to think about what feelings are coming up while you're creating your doll. Are you feeling like she's playful and a true representation? Are you feeling like, is she wearing a mask and you're still hiding behind other people's expectations or visions of you, rather than, striding powerfully into the new year? What does your doll reveal about your authentic self? Well, mine definitely reveals that I have a go for it attitude, right? And just kind of a I'll figure it out as I go attitude. You saw that with me fussing with the clothes over and over again, and just going for it with the face as well. I love being in my pajamas, so that feels like a fun representation as well. And how does this align with the person I want to become this year? So more relaxed, more downtime. Like, this isn't the adventurous Minette. This is the Minette who's happiest being home by herself in her studio. And is there anything missing? And I'm looking at this going, a blankie, right? It's often chilly down here, so I feel like, she needs a little comfort blankie of some kind. She needs her pocket added on here. I like the apron idea, and she definitely needs an animal companion. So look at your doll and say, is there anything missing, and what would I add to make her feel complete? So some fun questions to add, right? And then you can also think about symbols that represent that core essence, like stars, hope. does she need a heart on her? What else does she need? And I am going to definitely add a pocket here or an apron. I'm trying to decide. Hi, Wendy. Yes, I shared a pattern on my email list yesterday. If you're not on my email list, I will make sure I put a link to the free download of the pattern in the description of the video. I can do that right after the video. So there's the purple and the green. And I love this crazy bright green. Tori, do you recognize these? These are from our gel printing session that we did together. So I'm thinking she's going to have just a little apron that ties around her waist instead of a whole body apron. Okay. Pick the piece that I love the most. And this brings me right back to this idea of how these become a form of intuitive collage. When we just start to really trust the process, add the layers. I think she's going to need a little bit of ribbon added on the top of this, which I don't have right here. But a little bit of ribbon, and it's going to sort of tie that apron on, that folded paper. And then we definitely need our pocket of possibilities here. And it would be fun to, this is where the creativity is really unlimited for these. So I'm thinking either with my sewing machine or just hand stitching that I want to stitch that pocket on there, and that green is too bright. So I'm not loving the green. Maybe her pocket just needs to match her pajamas. Definitely she needs a nice big pocket. And you don't want to glue the pocket down, right? It's a pocket, so you definitely want it to be open. So just a tiny little bit of glue stick or some stitching around. Ah, thanks, Judy. I appreciate that. So the pocket, and then I think I have some gold tulle that would be super fun to add that on there. So once she has the pocket, then I can start to put some tools in that pocket. She might even need a bigger pocket. Like aprons kind of have big pockets right in the center. You liked the bright green? This one? A bright pop of green? Maybe this is going to become her silly hat. So this is where we can have fun and really bring out that childlike play of adding the pieces. So I think I'll let this one sit there and rest for a little bit. But now she's all of a sudden starting to feel more complete. She has the apron. It feels like she needs some tools. And I want to really think about, or find some images or hand draw some images on some of these bazillion scraps of paper lying around. She needs a paintbrush. All my paintbrushes end up being really frayed. because I work them hard. Definitely need a pen or a pencil. And maybe I want to express my connection to nature. Maybe she's going to get a fun little flower. So there's certainly no flowers. It is definitely winter. Everything I woke up this morning, everything was covered in frost, but I know it'll come back. I do love feathers. I'm always collecting rocks and feathers and all kinds of fun things. And things don't have to be complicated, fancy, formal, right? Like they keep things really simple and playful. Give yourself permission to draw like a kindergartner, take the pressure off. The less attached you are to perfection, the more likely you are to achieve your goals this year. Like just be detached from the outcomes and stay connected to the path and the journey. And interestingly, I picked this piece of paper because I love the color, but I'm looking at it now and it's covered in spirals. And I had drawn a spiral on my doll. I wasn't even thinking about it, but on her belly, I drew a spiral. Get my teeny tiny scissors here. So these are going to go in her pocket. And you can definitely find stickers or, print things out if you don't want to draw. Go through magazines and you're bound to find all kinds of things that might want to live in your pocket. And I was thinking a lot about this today in terms of so often at this time of year, we are thinking about vision boards and stuff that we want to have or things that we want to accomplish. And all those are great, right? Vision boards are great. I love making vision boards, vision books. But this doll really is about making a stand for who you want to be this year. And we start from the energy of who do you want to be versus what do you want to have or what do you feel like you should be doing, and instead focus on who am I being. Everything else will fall into place. So when I look at this paper doll, she's pretty focused. She's in her power stance, but she's also relaxed. She's got her tools here at the ready. And it kind of feels like she's up for whatever, right? It's like she's up for whatever. She's up for the journey ahead. All right, so I pulled this little book out this morning, and I'm wondering if that little mouse is pretty cute. Maybe that little mouse is going to sit in her pocket. So why the animals? Because my personal painting goal this year is to actually create a body of work based on my animal paintings and a body of small paintings. I love to paint big, but I want to create a body of smaller works that I can show in the local gallery that is connected to the Artist Guild I belong to. And it feels like a big stretch to commit to creating a body of work. Normally I just paint whatever I want to paint. And the theme of those paintings are going to be animals. I love that little chubby mouse. So that feels good to have a little bit of an animal on there to join me on the journey. It also feels like maybe her heart needs to be showing on the outside. Love these little mushrooms and connection to nature. Definitely feels like little butterfly transformation energy. So I'm starting to just look for symbols. Excuse me. I deeply believe in the power of transformation at any age and stage. I also believe that it can be playful, looking always to expand and open my heart and to be more vulnerable. Aw, thanks, Tori. Okay, digging this pink snail in these flowers is this, reminder to slow down this year, to not always have to be moving so fast. Family is really important to me, but they don't feel like part of this doll, so there might have to be a whole series of family dolls. I'm really drawn to these pink flowers. Maybe they're part of her apron. Bringing in these pops of pink sort of brighten things up. I love this little bird. Maybe this little bird needs to sit on her shoulder. It just feels like she needs her animal companions. I like that this one also has some winter berries around it, but I don't want the berries. I just want this pretty little blue bird. And the story, our story, is often in the details, right? Like here's this large doll. She's got a lot of personality and a lot going on, but kind of the secrets to who she is are really in all of the other pieces. Okay, the birdie wants to travel maybe. The birdie might want to sit on her apron, but you can kind of see the idea here of starting to build on what we started, get into that intuitive collage piece that I love so much, and add some magic elements that kind of shows the direction that I'm going. This stop sign, it just feels like it's going to go in her apron. And this is a reminder to myself to stop and rest. That I can take out that stop sign whenever I need to. So it's just going to get tucked down in there. Don't need to necessarily see it, but think about what tools do you want to have in your pocket of possibilities. And I don't want to overfill my pocket either, because I want there to be space for the things that I don't even know about yet to get added in to the doll. So now if I come back to those prompts and I look at her again, now she feels more like me. She feels more representative. I think she reveals my creativity, my love of animals, my love of doing deep personal transformation work, both on my own and supporting others on that journey. My love of animals and nature are representative. It aligns with who I want to be this year, just more myself, right? Always more myself. Like, how can I just continue to show up powerfully and authentically for myself, for my community, for my family? And right now she feels complete. It doesn't feel like there's anything else that I need to add to her. Oh, except her slippers. She definitely needs some slippers on. Let's see, I've got a little piece of black tissue paper here. Or maybe we'll make this easy and we're just going to color her feet purple to represent slippers. And I do have purple slippers. I have summer slippers and winter slippers. I have so many slippers, it's silly. I have loaner slippers for when people come to visit because the floors are cold in the studio. All right, so now she has her purple slippers on, so now she feels complete. Now she feels complete. So I'd love to hear from those of you that are still here with me, what is your takeaway from this experience today? Like, what are you seeing for yourself? What are you seeing for the year ahead? What feels very affirming? What feels still perhaps unknown? I think the other thing about this process that I'm taking away personally is how important this morning playtime is to me. All right, you come off of there for a second. And how much happier I am the more I stay connected. Excuse me, the more I stay connected to my inner child, the more I make time for creative play, the happier that I am, the more I enjoy my days. We had wonderful dinner with some new friends this week, and the gentleman was talking about how he has created a lot more intention in his routine and the way they've set things up. Like, one thing they did was they took their TV out of their living room and moved it down into the basement. So rather than just always having it on and having it be a habit, it became a choice to go and watch for an hour. And it made me think about how can I set myself up for more intention and play. Playful is your word this year. Off to a great start. Love that. Your doll has very lush PJs, resting with her hands behind her head, which made a challenge. Yeah, you might want to tape the PJs on, even just with some double stick tape while she's wearing her PJs, might help hold them on. Judy, focus is your word for the year. I love that. So, what would symbolize focus? A pair of binoculars, right? Or a spyglass. Okay. And Mr. Birdie. So she still needs she needs some ribbon on her apron, but she's really close. Intentional is your word for the year. Love that. Yeah, it definitely wants to be part of the apron, but I think the bird doesn't want to be held down. The bird wants to move. So I think the bird can just go in the pocket for now, right? I think of birds being a lot about movement, especially little birds. They flit around, they move really fast, they eat a lot, right? They play a lot. And with that, I feel like my blank slate doll is complete. And thank you so much, whether you join me live or watch the replay. This is my third annual Painting in Your PJs on New Year's Day. Super fun to keep this tradition going. And this is the first week of our year-long exploration of Paper Doll Chronicles using paper dolls for creative play, but also for introspection and self reflection. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure and hit that like button on the video to let other people know it is a video worth watching. And once your doll is complete, I would love to see her on Instagram if you're on Instagram using the hashtag Paper Doll Chronicles. Thank you so much and happy new year to each and every one of you. And going forward, I will be live on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Happy New Year. Enjoy your day and many blessings for a wonderful year to come. Bye bye, everybody.